It's Bitcoin, y'all. It's been a while since I've made one of these videos. Did a bunch of videos in the beginning where I was trying to kind of give just a basic understanding of the way Bitcoin worked. And at the end of the day, you might want to watch those videos. They're boring, but there's info in them, and that info is generally correct, and I try to put it in a simple enough way that it's understandable. So I just want to make one quick video on why we would want something like Bitcoin to exist and a possible value proposition for the near future and far into the future. And that is that in the digital world, everything is infinite. So just think about any topic you want to learn about. You can find an infinite amount of resources to learn about. You can pick a topic and go to YouTube and spend hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours watching videos on it. Or you could go and look up and read about it. And now that there's AI that has information, you could go and ask questions and learn from that too. And this idea of infinite everything in the digital space is what the digital space is. And there was never, before Bitcoin, there was never a way where you created a finite amount of something in the digital space. Bitcoin does that. So why would we want a finite something digital? Well, because there is no cost to infinity if we don't impose a cost. And so let me try to explain that. If you want to affect social policy or just get a large group of people to think about a certain thing, you could spin up hundreds of thousands of bots that are going to push a narrative and put them out there on social media or any other vehicles that you can get that information in front of people and get them to think a certain way. And if there's no cost to that, then that's what's going on right now on Twitter, on different Facebook and Instagram, different places. I've read it's starting on TikTok. Somebody called it the shitification of Instagram, and my wife listened to a podcast, talked about it. But it's that when there's no cost to infinite resources, then you can just spin up these bots that are acting like humans and pushing one particular narrative. But if there's something, and there is now, that is finite, then we can impose a cost in the future. And so if you want to push a narrative, and you want to pretend you're a human, then you might have to pay a small amount of something to verify that you're an actual human. And it's not that you couldn't pay a small amount of something and have a bot, but if that cost, when you multiply it times 100,000, now it costs 100,000 of those things to make all these bots, because one bot isn't going to influence anyone, but 100,000 or 1,000,000 will. Well, if you just have to pay $5 worth of Bitcoin to say that you're a real person, well, if you're trying to spin up 100,000 of those, right? Now you're talking about $500,000, $500,000. So the cost becomes enormous to try to sway public policy using, taking one person's idea and then spinning up a bunch of bots to push it. So there's an ability and people are working on this. I think it'll come about pretty soon, to impose a cost. And the only reason that there's an ability to impose a cost is because there's a finite amount of that thing that you would pay. If there's an infinite amount of dollars that can be created in the fiat world, fiat's just a term for money that's issued by a government, then there's still there is no limit. It's infinite. And with Bitcoin, there is a limit. And so that's why it will become more valuable over time, because it'll tie in to trust. and it'll tie into, oh, you pay a little bit. Now you know that's a real person, and they're paying to give their opinion, and now you're just taking the opinion of one person instead of 100,000 bots pretending to be that one person with that idea. And it has a different effect. It doesn't have as great of an effect on the kind of mass thinking of the masses. Now, the second part of that, and it's just exactly intertwined with it, is this idea of AI. And AI is going to revolutionize things, it's going to change things. You can watch infinite amount of videos on that too right now. More coming online any day if you want to learn about it. But the AI needs CPUs powered by energy in order to learn. And it needs more and more energy as time goes along. And so the cost for having Bitcoin is enormous amounts of energy. So the electrical grid, or the energy grid of the world, is essentially like the computer chip that powers Bitcoin. And so in the future, it's a simple leap to think, okay, AI is going to need energy, and they're going to need energy that humans create or have built the systems that create in order to power themselves. Therefore, we need something that we created. We have Bitcoin, something we created that's tied to that energy that they will be willing to trade with. So they will be willing to trade Bitcoin for energy, and that will put a cost on the AI to accomplish the things that it won't. It won't be free and infinite. There's again an ability for humans to impose a real cost on things. And in the digital space, we've been able to impose costs in the physical space, but until Bitcoin existed, there was no way to impose a cost digitally. And now there is. And so the reason there is Bitcoin is tied to the energy grid. You can go back and watch other videos of mine or people maybe who are more interesting than me and see that. But the point is that there is now something finite that is tied to a real world energy that can be used to put a cost on things and limit the amount of information coming to light instead of that information being infinite, especially in the case where it's bad information, right? There's no cost to putting out good or bad information. Then a bad actor will be willing to put out lots of bad information if they can find a way to arbitrage that and line their own pockets. Bitcoin is the technology that will be a wall to stand against that. And so a digital wall, and it will literally be a protective wall in the digital space to protect bad actors infinitely creating bad information. And we need that. We all know we need that. We've been on social media. We see it. We see that that you're just bombarded with these things that feel wrong. It's because they are. It's because a couple people spun up 100,000 bots to push a narrative that's going to help them but hurt other people, and it's not even true. And so we're all feeling this, and I don't care what side of the political spectrum you're on. It's happening all over. And Bitcoin is the hope, represents the hope and the actuality of imposing a cost in the future and having less of that just crap filling our feeds, and instead having the ability to say, oh, this guy's an expert in this field, well studied, has paid to give his opinion or hers, and then we can take that and make a decision on whether we agree or disagree. And instead of having, 100,000 fake humans pushing that narrative. All right, that's it. I hope you like this video. Whatever, share it. And when I get another idea, I'll throw it out there. I'm not going to make a ton of these videos. I'm not trying to be a big streamer. But I do like to occasionally give thoughts that I think will help people that I know understand the implications of what this Bitcoin thing is and what it is doing and what it potentially will do. Thank you again. Have a good day.